Hey you guys, welcome back to Core. Remember we learned yesterday about the continent and the continent of Italy the continent of Europe and Asia and how to get from one place to another. Let's see what happens today. And remember that they couldn't get through this way because people wouldn't let them pass. Now that the land route to Asia was closed, kings and queens from all over Europe began looking for the best sea route to the treasures of the East. They greedily sought to claim rare and expensive Asian spices for their own country. The race was on. In every European port, young navigators competed to lead adventures to Asia. They were anxious to try out new, lighter sailing ships that made it possible to sail faster and farther than ever before. One of these navigators was an Italian man named Christopher Columbus. Tall and strong, with intelligent blue eyes and blonde hair, he was an experienced sailor like all the others. His name is Christopher Columbus. Can you say that? Christopher Columbus. What made Columbus stand out from the others was that he did not plan on reaching Asia by sailing east around the coast of Africa. He had a different idea. Christopher Columbus wanted to sail west across the Atlantic Ocean in order to reach the Indies. He visited several kings in different European countries asking for their help. Laying out his map, he tried to convince them that his idea was a good one. For many years, Columbus tried unsuccessfully to get the support of European kings and queens. The King of Portugal refused him. The King of Italy refused him. The King of England refused him. Only the Spanish seemed interested in his plans to sail west across the ocean. I just wanted to show you something really quickly, is that what he's saying right now is that instead of doing this way, he wanted to see what would happen if he went this way. Okay, but can we see what's over here? No, because the earth is round. So nobody wanted to trust that he'd be able to get all the way over here by going this way. Only the Spanish seemed interested in his plans to sail west, but they turned him down too because Spain was at war and they didn't have money for travel. Columbus knew that he could not make the trip without their ships or money. Now, several long years after Columbus met with King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella of Spain, he became hopeful that his long wait was over at last. As he rode down over the mountains, Columbus recalled his first visit to great Spanish city below. Spain had been at war then. Now the Spanish war was over, and the Spanish king and the queen had won. Columbus hoped that they had become victorious royal couple, newly rich with all their treasures that they won in the war, would have time, money, and attention to help him. At last, he thought he might reach his goal of sailing west to the Indies. This picture shows kind of what it looked like back then. Here's the king and the queen, and here's Christopher Columbus saying, hey, can you guys help me out? Let me take your ships and go and see what's happening in the Indies. And I can get you a lot of spices and bring you back a lot of treasures. A Spanish army officer directed him to the large fancy tents in which the king and queen were still living, for they had not even had time yet to move their army camp into the palace. Still, they were hardly suffering. Their tents contained thick, beautiful carpets and full-size beds. The royal couple sat upon thrones brought from their palace in northern Spain. They dined off of plates made of silver, eating fine foods and drinking their drinks. Their many servants were there to take care of them. Most importantly, with the war over, Ferdinand and Isabella were too happy and proud to complain much about anything. They smiled as Columbus bowed before them and told him to rise to his feet. And now, said the queen, let us talk about your plan of sailing west to the Indies. Admiral, Columbus's heart leapt within him. An admiral was a navy officer in charge of a whole fleet or group of ships. The queen and the king must have talked it over, and now they were ready to help him act out his long-held plans. Columbus was going to search for the riches of the East by sailing west. So he finally found someone that would help him to sail because he doesn't have boats and he doesn't have a lot of money, but the king and the queen, they won the war, and so they had all sorts of treasures, and they were really happy to help Christopher Columbus sail to the Indies. These stories are important because it leads up to what happens next, okay? All right. I think that's all for today. I'm excited to tell you the story tomorrow and the next day because you'll find out what happens to Christopher Columbus.